Hello dear aspirants, welcome to Civil Service School. Today we are going to learn about all aspects of India-Sri Lanka relation. Sri Lanka is a neighboring country of India. So definitely you can expect some questions on Sri Lanka in competitive exams. So in any international relation, it is founded on bedrock of diplomacy. So whenever we consider any relationship, we should know the nitty-gritty of diplomatic aspects of that relation. Suppose India-Sri Lanka relation, there are some historical aspects, there are some current aspects, and there are some future aspects also. Remember one thing, whenever we discuss any international relation or whenever we engage with any foreign country, we have to follow certain principles. Like suppose there is a new government in Sri Lanka, that is the Gotabaya Rajapaksa government. Suppose India is giving full support to Gotabaya Rajapaksa, and there is a perception that Gotabaya Rajapaksa government is very lean towards India. Then if after 5 years another government comes and that government looks India in a hesitant manner, that may not be good for India. So there should be an egalitarian view to every party in international relationship. We should be considerate enough, and we should be equally good to each party whoever comes to power in a foreign government. So let's look into the nitty-gritty of the topic. This is my introduction. My name is Hemant Sharma, and these are the exams where I have got success till now. So India-Sri Lanka relationship is founded on historical thing. Sri Lanka has a huge Tamil population, that Jaffna province in northern Sri Lanka has huge Tamil population. This Tamil population has migrated to Sri Lanka from India centuries ago. During the Chola reign, Sri Lanka was part of Chola Empire. Probably these Tamil people have migrated to Sri Lanka at that time only. Buddhism has transmitted to Sri Lanka from India. Ashoka's daughter Sanghamitra went to Sri Lanka to transmit Buddhism. Food habit of Sri Lankan people and Indian people matches in many aspects. Their attire also matches. In diplomacy, there is a term called low-hanging fruit. These are some keywords. You should remember these keywords whenever writing any answer for any competitive exam. So these are low-hanging fruit. Low-hanging fruit means cultural exchange, people to people exchange, disaster mitigation, etc. Whenever relationship deteriorates between two countries, these low-hanging fruits come handy. Means this helps in maintaining a good relation. Recently in Sri Lanka, there was a huge landslide. Many people died in that landslide, and India supported Sri Lanka by giving disaster management assistance. In Maldives also, there was a huge water scarcity, and India has sent some navy ships to help to ameliorate water crisis in Maldives. These are some low-hanging fruits. We should use these things whenever we need some immediate result of our engagement. So this is a PANCHSHEEL treaty which was signed in 1954 between India and China. Although this is applicable to India-China relationship only, but we can use this treaty provisions for our other international relations also. In India-Sri Lanka relationship, this PANCHSHEEL treaty dictates peaceful coexistence, non-interference of each other's internal affairs, and all these things. And this gives a peaceful cohabitation for all the countries. And Sri Lanka being the only, and sorry, India is the only neighboring country of Sri Lanka. Sri Lanka has no other neighbor except India. So this should be strictly followed by India whenever we engage with Sri Lanka, that is non-interference in their internal affairs. Then only we can expect some long-lasting result. Because otherwise, stakeholders, that is common people, etc., may not like India's interference in their own affairs. This happened in 1987 when India's peacekeeping forces were deployed to reduce Tamil insurgency. At that time, Sri Lankan government helped this Tamil insurgency, that is LTTE, with arms against Indian peacekeeping forces. Almost 1,000 Indian soldiers died in that event. And after this incident, that is 1987, India's involvement, this 13th amendment to Sri Lankan constitution happened. This was in 1987 during Rajiv Gandhi government. This 13th amendment provides provincial autonomy. And this provincial autonomy gives autonomy to Tamil population. Nowadays also Tamil population is complaining that these provisions of 13th amendment is not strictly implemented. That's why they are not able to avail all the benefits of devolution of power to provinces. They are demanding India's intervention for strict implementation of 13th amendment. This created provincial councils, and Tamil was declared as official language along with Sinhala. India has been helping insurgency affected areas in Sri Lanka. Like there are some areas like Jaffna, Babunia. India has provided low cost housing to all these areas through aid. This will increase India's standing amongst their common populace. Plus, it will uplift those poor people of North and Eastern Sri Lanka. Most of the minority population of Sri Lanka lives in that eastern eastern and northern area, and minority means Tamil and Muslims mainly. So India's given this much needed aid to Sri Lanka, and this will help in the longer run. Indian fishermen, there is a pox trade in between India and Sri Lanka, and that boundary line between India and Sri Lanka, that boundary line between India and Sri Lanka is not very distinguished. Is not distinguished. So whenever Indian fishermen crossed into Sri Lankan territorial water, many a times Sri Lankan navy fired to them, and many fishermen died till now. This issue is not solved yet, and India has been engaging with Sri Lanka in through some bilateral joint action groups, and the common issue means the adapted thing is that this is a issue of humanitarian issue. This is a humanitarian issue. This is an accepted norm that this is a humanitarian issue, and this trespassing is happened because of living needs of Tamil fishermen. This is an issue of their life. So this is an accepted norm that this is an humanitarian issue. In India and Sri Lankan government both want to pursue this case as humanitarian issue. Recently, you know that India has been building a port in TRINCOMALEE. I will show you the place in map. This is the place, TRINCOMALEE. India has been building a port in TRINCOMALEE. Our oil reserve, some oil reserve will be established there. Oil reserves will be established there. Sri Lanka is actually situated in a very busy route in Indian Ocean. Global ships travel through this path to Malacca Strait, and then goes to that South China Sea, and to China, Japan, etc., Philippines, and South Korea. All these places are traveled from Africa or West Asia. That is, oil ships travel to these places through this water. And Sri Lanka is situated in a very busy route of international trade. So the position of Sri Lanka is very much essential, and that is the only reason why China is also want to have a place in Sri Lanka's development, want to play a part in Sri Lanka's development. And previous government, it is alleged that previous government of Mahinda Rajapakse was aligned to Chinese government. So this is a port called Hambantota port, and this Hambantota port is constructed through Chinese aid. And India has been developing this TRINCOMALEE port, and there is a airport called Mattala Airport, and Mattala Airport is this Hambantota province, somewhere like near. This is the Mattala Airport, and India has bought this loss-making enterprise, Mattala Airport, to prevent further Chinese involvement in this region in Sri Lanka. Actually, what is happening? China is giving huge debt to Sri Lanka, and means Sri Lanka now presently Sri Lankan government is very debt ridden. and it will have to have lots of money to repay those debt. There are some discontent among Sri Lankan populace against this Chinese debt, and Sri Lanka is in a debt trap, debt trap because of this Chinese aid. This is a key word, debt trap. These are the region Babunia where Indian housing projects are undergoing. This is actually Talai Mannar. This is the only land connection between India and Sri Lanka. This is also called Ram Setu. This is actually not a land connection, but there are some sand dunes in this region. This is Pok Strait. This is Pok Strait. Pok Strait. This is Pok Strait, and this is Gulf of Mannar. This region is called Gulf of Mannar. Gulf of Mannar. This is Pok Strait. This region is called Gulf of Mannar, and this region is Jaffna. This is eastern Sri Lanka. This Batti Kolwa. India has given many development aid for this region also, Batti Kolwa. These are basically regions with huge tea estates. Huge tea estates. This is a region of Tamil majority, and most of the Muslim population of Sri Lanka lives here, who work in these tea estates. And these are some poorer regions. These are some poorer regions of Sri Lanka. Poorer regions of Sri Lanka. And that western part is relatively richer. Colombo, Gale, Kendi, all these places are located here. There is a stadium called Matera. We Indians are aware of that stadium. So recently there was an incident of docking of Chinese submarine in Colombo port, and India has put its strongest opposition to that move of Sri Lanka, and Sri Lanka has denied vehemently that it has not docked any Chinese submarine in its water. And China has an One Belt One Road initiative, where Sri Lanka is also a part, and there is a Belt and Road initiative also. These are some Chinese led initiative where there will be a road connectivity, and there will be road connectivity from China to Europe, and all the ports, seaports will be, that means there will be some ports in Sri Lanka, Africa, and these ports will be connected through highways to this main road. These ports will be connected through highways to these ports will be connected through highways. There is a port in Pakistan also, that is called Gadar Port. And Gadar Port is connected through highways by a highway which passes through Gilgit-Baltistan region of India. And this is the only region. There are other regions also, but this is one of the main reasons why India has not joined OBOR initiative of China, because India contested that the highway connecting Godar port cannot pass through Gilgit-Baltistan region, which is a disputed territory. But Sri Lanka is not averse to this OBOR and build and Belt and Road initiative. So they are part of these things, and which is a point of concern for India. but Sri Lanka being a sovereign country, we can't express our concern openly. And we have already mentioned that Sri Lanka is located in global sea route. Sri Lanka is part of SARC initiative, that is South Asian Association of Regional Cooperation. Sri Lanka is part of SARC, and India is a big brother in SARC, and we are all engaging with Sri Lanka in many aspects. After that terrorist attack from Pakistan in Indian territory, like Uri Uri incident, that SARC has been reported as SARC minus Pakistan initiative. Means India is now in a mission to isolate Pakistan from all international forums. So in this new era of SARC minus Pakistan, BIMSTEC came to the fore. BIMSTEC means Bay of Bengal Initiative for multi-sectoral technical and economic cooperation. There are some countries like India, Sri Lanka, Myanmar, Thailand, Bhutan, Nepal. These are the countries, and these countries are dependent on Bay of Bengal. In one big summit in Goa, India invited all the BIMSTEC countries to give impetus to this BIMSTEC initiative. So, Sri Lanka is part of that BIMSTEC, and India and Sri Lanka has signed a nuclear energy pact in 2015 to give civilian nuclear technology to Sri Lanka, so that Sri Lanka can be self-dependent on power generation. These are some good steps where Indian companies can also take a part, can also play a part in this development story of Sri Lanka, and in return they will get some profits, and there is a negotiation going on. CEPA stands for comprehensive economic partnership agreement. India and Sri Lanka already has a India and Sri Lanka already have a free trade agreement, and we wanted to expand that in the form of a CEPA. But there are some strong concerns from both the political circles and common populace of Sri Lanka. They are apprehending that Indian products will flood Sri Lankan markets, and as a result of this, Sri Lankan companies will be at the receiving end. They will not get much profit, and so they are opposed to this CEPA. So what will be our duty in the long run will be, we should remove all these apprehensions of Sri Lankan people, of Sri Lankan mass, to this CEPA, so that they can take a fruitful role in this journey of a borderless trade. So dissenting voices, what will be the way forward of this relationship? Dissenting voices are used by China. In all the dissenting voices of Sri Lankans, whenever there are some dissents against India, all these are used by China to capitalize on those decisions. They capitalize on those decisions. They give financial help or moral help to those dissenters, and they want to gain some dividend. So our way forward should be a win-win situation in everywhere. Wherever we discuss that CEPA, or whenever we discuss that fisherman issue, that is a humanitarian issue, whenever we discuss anything, that should be a win-win situation for everyone, and a proactive dialogue is necessary. All the issues should be solved through dialogue. In this juncture, let me tell you one thing, that is Gujral doctrine. This is a very important concept from exam point of view. This Gujral doctrine was propounded by Inder Kumar Gujral when he was the foreign minister of India, probably in 1996, during Deve Gowda government. He propounded that whenever India helps any neighboring country, it should expect nothing in return. That means we should expect nothing. Whatever we give to them, that should be given as a donation. Like recently, India has been following a new policy of neighborhood first. In 2014, when Narendra Modi government came to power, he decided to visit all the neighboring countries of India as a first step of his this journey. So we have been following a policy of neighborhood first. That is, we will give aid to our neighboring countries, and we don't expect anything in return from them. Although this Gujral doctrine is not an official doctrine of government of India, but historically all the governments has been following this Gujral doctrine to some extent. And let me tell you one fun fact. Whenever India is the first destination of Sri Lankan president elect, whenever a new president is elected in Sri Lanka, that president should visit India first. That means, but that doesn't signify that he or she will visit India first without any invitation. We should offer an invitation, and then he or she will visit India first. That is a fun fact. So this is an answer writing practice with civil service school. Just you write this answer, critically analyze India-Sri Lanka relation in the context of present scenario, 250 words, 15 marks, and you just write and send it to us for evaluation. It will be a free evaluation. So whenever you write this answer, write an introduction part. That means India-Sri Lanka relationship is founded on that historic edifice of people to people connect and cultural relationship. Just give an introduction like that, and then analyze all the aspects of this relationship, that is Panchansheel Treaty, Gujral doctrine, humanitarian aid, India's peacekeeping forces in 1987 in Sri Lanka, and 13th amendment to Sri Lankan constitution, and SEPA, comprehensive economic partnership agreement, FTA. Whenever you write any question on critical analyze, just write pros and cons. And what are the cons? Where we have failed till now, means we have allowed Sri Lanka to move to China because China has deep pocket. And how can we counter that? How can we counter that deep pocket of China? We should give more assistance, humanitarian assistance, disaster management assistance. We should reap the benefits of low-hanging fruits like people-to-people elections, cultural elections. We should give an impetus to Buddhist tourism. All this can come within the question. And what should be the way forward? I have already told you what should the way forward. Proactive dialogue and what are the dissenting voices are used by China, and that should be used for benefit of India. They should be given the chance to vent their anger in front of Indian vent their anger in front of Indian mission, diplomatic mission in Sri Lanka, and these are way forward. Just write and send to us for evaluation. Thank you, dear aspirants from Civil Service School, and just like, comment, and subscribe to our channel and share with your friends. Best wishes, dear aspirants. Thank you.